What's up, Earpers? Yay! Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here. We're going to be talking. Ooh, I was getting my brightness on. This is my dog. Don't mind her. We're talking episode 2, Friends in Low Places. And woo, this was quite the episode. And well, before we get into it, first, we should introduce ourselves if you are new to our stream. My name is Kari Lane, and joined by the awesome Amber
Plaster.
I didn't know if you wanted to go a full name intro for yourself too. Yes,
I don't know. I felt like a announcer warm up, and in the second round, we
yes.
I felt like that. Yes. Hi guys. Yeah, my name is Amber Plaster. You guys are watching this replay on my YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please give it a like and a subscribe if you can, so we can help more Earpers find this podcast. We will hopefully have the live chat replay up on this channel after. And thank you guys so much for being here. I'll be watching the chat. Kari will be leading the show today. We very much miss Alexis and Yael, who will be joining us again next week. And let's just get into it.
Yes. Okay. I want to hear your first impressions because, I was like, okay, they said this episode's going to be even crazier than the premiere. It's like, well, what could they possibly do? So, Amber, what did you think of episode 2?
Okay, there was a lot of time wasted on zombies in this episode. A lot. I needed way more stairs, way less zombies. You see what I'm saying?
Whew, get the AC going because it's hot.
I mean, I feel like I have a lot to say about that stair scene, or I guess really just way hot reunion.
Yeah.
But basically, to not be inappropriate, I'm glad that they made it actually look real. Because at first I was like, oh, it's going to be a TV sex scene where everyone's wearing clothes somehow. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like, I just hate that, It's like, just show what it actually looks like. Stop being a prude. And they did it really tastefully, and I think they did it really
Yes. Emily Andras, showrunner for the show, had an interview with TV Line. We'll link that. Thank you, Yael, for sending that to me. And she talked about how the fact that they had a 10 p.m. time slot really helped them achieve that kind of a scene.
Yeah, the MA rating is kind of liberating once you already have a built-in fan base ready to show up. What's up, sci-fi? We're here, not quitting on it. I do have to say, from last week's episode, I do want to clarify, there is going to be a season 5. For some reason, I thought that season 4 was the only one because it was just so hard to fight for it. But they have already renewed Wynonna Earp for season 5, so my apologies on that. I just literally thought they were just trying to just let this show die. Like, that's what it felt like for 2 years when they were just like, oh, sorry, we can't get to scheduling. And I was just like, what is happening at this network? So I apologize. But it was definitely the reunion we deserved. I mean, everyone that watches the show is an adult anyway, I assume. It only deals with adult jokes and content. So I think everyone's going to be really happy with this episode.
Yes. Well, there's characters like Rachel that are a little younger and teenager, but still, I agree that I feel the audience for this show is probably at least teenager age. And even though the sex scene was more, we'll put air quotes, graphic, and I think it was beautifully done. And yeah, this episode was very exciting. I'm glad we got clarification on a few things and a lot more doors opened, more ways than one, and questions. That was actually not that much of a dirty joke, but if you went there, all right. And I just thought that scene was very powerful that happened. And it took 4 seasons to get there, but I feel that is what the fans have earned and deserved. And I think that's a great example for television to take note of how to do a queer sex scene or any sex scene super sexy, super hot, but still beautiful at the same time. And consent is sexy.
Yes, consent is sexy, and not at all difficult. So, I think I think my favorite thing about the episode was that I wasn't expecting that, so it felt even more natural. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like in season 1, when they kind of hooked up, I was expecting it, but this one was kind of like I kind of expected more shooting and more action and more exposition, and then all of a sudden they were just like, holy shit, you're here, and that was just it was just like, we can't even function in reality anymore, like I need to be on you. And I was like, that's real life, yay. I thought it was so good.
It also had safe words, so hey, the show is extremely accurate and important information if people don't know about these things.
Can I just say, I love that they included that as the way to know that it was Wynonna. Will the real Wynonna please stand up? And she said the safe word. I was like,
yes, it was so good.
10 out of 10 was not expecting.
That was, and we also get steamy between Doc and Wynonna as well. So this episode, even though it's in the snow, all kinds of steam going on.
And I really liked when Doc said, she is somebody I deeply care about. And I was like, my eyes like rolled in the back of my head. I was just like, men. It was like, come on, you're about to die. She might be dying. You still can't even say the L word. Really? Oh, you stupid vampire.
Pretty on brand thus far for him. And essentially what Eve points out, which we get to that. So, well, let's talk about Eve, actually, since we're on that too, of yes, we called it. It's not exactly Nicole. Now, question for you, Amber, and then everybody who's watching, if you're watching on YouTube, please comment down below, is do you think that version of her appeared that way, this Eve person, because that is the book Waverly grabbed?
Yeah. I think there's a reason that it showed up knowing a lot about Nicole. And it only turned into
Jeremy
after Eve touched Doc. I think, if I'm correct.
I think so.
And then the same for Wynonna. So I think otherwise it would have changed into Nicole sooner if it knew how.
Yeah.
I think.
I want to go with it's the book because, yes, that's the person Waverly probably cares about the most. But I think, I don't know how Eve controls the book, but that would lead you to think, which we might find out because Doc is like, hey, I have your book bag. I have the satchel, which I was like, what is that bag? And I'm like, oh, yes. And then the book. So maybe we'll find out. But
why
I would think that
satchel away? He goes, I have your satchel, toss. And I'm like,
it was super random. Like, where did he grab that from? And like, why did he think like, I'm going to bring this? And I don't, but that aside, I'm thinking that was a way for Eve to figure out what form to take. Because maybe before that, she had no form. So I'm wondering if, like that's a trap laid out. I don't know. Well, we might find out more later. We might not. Then actually that leads us to the next question. After all, they're fighting with her. Do you think Eve is gone? Like done? Or will she be back?
I don't think she's gone because we thought she was gone and then she was existing in this thing for eternity. So I think her presence is so strong and her spirit is so strong that she is not really operating on the human plane of time and existence, but I think she's still around in some form. What I don't get is where's Adam?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because
that's a good question.
I've very rarely seen Eve be problematic like this.
Well, it did remind me. They have, well, spoilers if you haven't watched it yet, but still, is Lucifer has Eve appear, and she's not as evil, but she is a bit chaotic, and has a relationship with the devil. So, I mean, it's an interesting concept for them to throw into the show. I don't feel she's done. They've definitely brought characters back we've seen before. I'd be curious to see more of what Eve looks like without shapeshifting so much, and just went into a door that we don't know where it goes and where that abyss of swirly goes. So maybe.
I do have to credit Kat's acting in this episode was
oh my gosh, yes.
I couldn't keep my eyes off of her. She's just like so good. Even like when she was like laying like this, like laying down and like just expressing terror towards that zombie. Like I was like, she's so good. She's a movie star. Why does she not have her own show? She's so good. I'm not even scared right now, but when I look at her face, I am scared. It was so good.
Yeah. I was like, what's wrong with her? And then we find out. But yeah, her acting off the charts, and also the comfortability and openness that she had to be more exposed in last episode and this one. It shows immense trust she has with her crew and everybody involved with the show, and then the fans too. That's a lot to be like, yes, here is me. And I think she did a fantastic job.
Mm-hmm. I loved it. I loved the imagery. I loved that the second she gave Waverly gave her half human, half angel blood, which I thought was really creative way to kind of create a problem, because you don't really have human blood. I'm still weirded out by the guy who cut his head off. I still feel like there's something about that we need to know. Like, why was he the one there? Watch it end up being like Teresa's dad or something. Like it's kind of.
I mean, like he could have been a black badge person who got there, but the question is, why? How did he get there? Why did he go there? I mean, is it just the experimenting with the door that we see at Black Badge later? What
he
convinced
did kind
him
of have
that
like a scientist-y outfit?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe. Yeah. I liked that the set was simple. Just the snow and the doors. It looked great. I know that they didn't have much budget for this season, but they did a really great job. And I really didn't know how they were going to get out. I still don't really understand how they randomly opened up one door when they couldn't before. And I don't really understand why it lit up when the other ones didn't, when they conveniently needed to leave. But maybe we'll find out, or maybe it's just going to be one of those things where we go, oh, well, they got away, and that's all that matters.
It could be. I do think it leaves a lot to be explored. I'm curious where all the other doors go. Something that was a little weird is it felt like there were two areas, and people watching, what did you think of? It seemed like there was the doors and then there was the throne, and those areas seem to actually be apart, because I'm just like, how is Doc not seeing or hearing Waverly if it's just this one little circle? But then like off in the distance, it seemed like there was another area. So it felt weird of like, I have to get to them. That I was like, how far apart are these spaces? Yeah. And if they are the same space, how do you not hear or see them when it seems like it's only that big? So let me know your thoughts, everybody. I think it was one of those, like, he goes, you can see it like off in the distance, and he had to run and get over there. I still think it's gorgeous. I think it's really cool, but it was a little disorienting, but maybe that's on purpose because this space is weird and disorienting. So I'm okay with that.
I think it's supposed to be disorienting on purpose.
Okay, then yeah, totally. I do think
also,
I saw a tweet.
So if she gets out, isn't she supposed to be lost? Like it's like kind of like a prison. Like they designed it to be kind of confusing and layered on purpose. I assumed it was like an upper level, a lower level, and then like the back room kind of that like Doc went into at the end with the crystals and saw like the wrong face on it. Like I was like, that's deep in there, but like maybe a few houses away. Like, I felt like it was like all within like the same, like, I don't know, like if you went to like a park, like I felt like it was like that area of land, and it would be like above ground, below ground, and then like, I don't know, like a football stadium of room is kind of what I imagined when I was watching the episode. But I also feel like it was purposely designed to be confusing and endless because punishment.
Yeah. I felt it was more the up on the snow level where I was a little bit more like, hey, where is the staircase to go down and the throne in relation to the other doors? And then one of the tweets, I forget which actor tweeted it, but it might have been Melanie. They said, shout out to the crew for having to clean up the snow every time for different takes. Because they're running around the snow and you're like, oh man, of course, that'd be so like, that's a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah. So were you concerned, Amber, when we get Waverly, who goes over to the throne, is going to sit on it, and then she's being very stationary? I was a bit concerned, like, when Wynonna comes to her, because I was like, wait, is she starting to turn to stone and we don't see this? How are you feeling when Waverly sat down and then when Wynonna comes over to her at the throne?
I thought it was really weird that she entered the throne from behind.
Yep, same.
That was very weird. I mean, it was kind of a cool, like, shot, but it was weird. And I felt like maybe, I feel like whatever she needs to do to fill that role hasn't happened yet, because she's clearly just experiencing moments of her power. Like when she pushes Wynonna back with her mind, to protect the throne or whatever. She's not really done that before. And I think she's not ready to take that seat. And I think she should have turned to stone a lot faster. So I was a little concerned that, but she did say, Wynonna, help me. Like, almost like she couldn't really get up.
Yeah.
And I was like, is she getting stuck? Is it mental?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Because it might not have been literal stone, like, you know, starting to form and like and frozen in place. But that's what I thought they meant when it was like explained to her. But again, it wasn't really explained to her. It's just like, hey, this is going to happen. And I thought it was more like frozen in place, that yes, exactly how she asked Wynonna, like, help me, and is able to get away from the throne. I do think it was starting to essentially mess with her mind, because she had that, like, I'm so focused, but then Wynonna, for the save of like, you've already made a promise and then had the ring.
Yeah, I also thought, did they toss the ring?
And then, hold on one second here. Oh, sorry, I'm having a little tech issue here.
No worries. Yeah, I feel like it was more. I feel like it was more mental. We're saying in the comments that, you know, Waverly wasn't quite herself in the garden.
What were you saying? Go ahead on the ring.
Yeah, they tossed the ring, the Bullshar ring, at the very end, like just like he tossed the satchel. And I'm like, stop throwing things away. We don't even know where we are. You're in a different plane of existence. Stop throwing things. I swear to God, if we need that ring.
I thought that was super weird. 100%. And it was weird for Waverly to get rid of it, even though it's maybe not the ring she wants to use ultimately, but symbolic. So it was weird of like, yeah, I'm just going to toss it.
No, okay. I know that Nicole threw the ring through the door with Wynonna, and I thought that was like a nice little gesture of like proof that it's good. Me. But at the end, when they were kind of trying to pick the right door and the door was glowing, she was kind of like, oh, this ring is tacky anyway. And she took it off and like just tossed it. And I'm like, I know it's tacky, but like you might need it in your own reality. What are you doing? At the very least, it could be a cool story for your grandchildren. What's happening there? Are you well?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, it's like, why? It felt like a throwaway in more ways than one. It was just like, wait, why are you just talk? Oh, okay, fine, whatever.
But I'm excited to see whatever replacement ring she's going to get, because it's going to be baller.
This is true. What kind of jewelry store do they have? Oh, they could have some unique, like, antique, I imagine a more antique style ring. You know, something with a bit more history to it. A different kind of history. So while they're doing all that, we did mention a little bit before then, we'll do a rewind in a way, but again, we see that time has shifted very differently. The zombies with Rachel and everything, and I felt really bad for Rachel I felt bad for her when she finally learned the truth about her mom, but knowing is much better than wondering and never finding out.
I mean, I feel like we all pretty much knew she was dead. And I found her reaction to be a little strange because you pretty much knew she was dead. You were there for like a while waiting to hear from her. And she basically started out saying, you know, I have to know for sure if she's still like alive. It's like she kind of knew.
Yeah.
But okay.
Well, again, it's the confirmation of something you were fearing, and now you know, which just sucks for her. And then the fact that, you know, she gets the reveal of Wynonna knew the whole time. But before that moment, I do like that Wynonna and Nicole are like, that they say best friends. So I was like, oh, yay. Like, I hope that this friendship continues because they've butted heads. Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Which totally makes sense. You should be good friends with your in-law too. So
yeah, but I think even beyond that, they've grown closer together throughout the seasons, which is cool.
Yes. And I was concerned. So anything else with the Black Badge location running around before we move on?
No, I'm interested to see who made this prison because it honestly looks half Black Badge, half Heavenly. Like it's such a weird collaboration, but yeah. It. I liked that set a lot. I kind of hope we don't have to go back there, but I liked the cherry blossom tree. That made it feel much more Garden of Eden-y. And I liked the simplicity of it a lot. Yes, that is my final thought on that. The Guardian.
Yeah, I would say I think the only interesting couple quote moments for Rachel Wynonna is the Rachel, Wynonna, and Nicole. The one of your mistakes don't define you. I thought that was a really nice like nugget of good point, because they've all gone through so many crazy things. And I really liked the story that Rachel was telling Nicole while they were fearing for their lives about the Mayan princess, the Valdez. I was like, ooh, I wonder if this might become something later. And it was really kind of nice for her to have that moment of talking about history for her.
Yeah.
For Rachel.
I like that a lot too. It was kind of like a nice little everyone has their own superhero in their family line. You just have to find it kind of thing. I like that a lot. Yeah. And giving cadence or recognition to her mother too. Yeah.
Yeah. And also on the nature of representation too, to have a character Mayan descent and to be, you know, a person of color and a really interesting character too was nice to see. I really like Rachel's character. That I hope we see more of her, and I think we will in town. I don't know what degree, but I hope she's not done, but she might be.
I don't think she will be. She was just, I mean, who knows? We'll just have to watch and find out.
This is true. We will. And so I think that's kind of it. I thought the zombies are interesting. Oh, the comedic laughing, hypoxia. The not being able to breathe for Wynonna and not getting the oxygen and going a little loopy.
That was so
amusing.
stressful for me. I just wanted to be like, shut up, stop wasting your oxygen, stop talking. Like, I was just the whole time, I was like, you're losing oxygen by talking, woman. Stop it. And then it was fine, because of course it was. It's just stressful. I feel like I'm on Nicole's side of that friendship. Like, I feel like I'm always like, wait, Wynonna, could you not right now? Because you're making me nervous.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I think in those moments I would be like, Wynonna, we need you to focus here. Like, let's get the job done. All right, so I'd say that's it for the black badge. So then we talked about it a bit, but then now it's gotten us back to the present, and I do air quotes in the way because it is, but time has passed differently, which I kind of was wondering before that happened. Like, at first I got really concerned when Nicole had the long hair with Waverly. I was like, oh no, it's Eve, but no, it's not. Time has passed, which totally makes sense that time can function differently in the garden versus outside. So it's like, oh, okay. And then that puts us in a whole new space, which could be rather interesting. What do you think of that time jump?
Well, I mean, I don't like it. I don't like that time has changed and things have happened, but I thought it was really well done. It definitely made me feel almost immediately when we saw Nicole shooting, that's not the state that we left Purgatory in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like immediately I was kind of like, oh no, what's happening here is kind of the feeling that I had. And then when she pointed out the long hair, it was kind of like, oh, that's freaky. Why hasn't she mentioned anything yet? And I'm like, oh, well, they just got caught up in it. So yeah, I think a lot of time has passed, and I'm like, well, then if time has passed and Wynonna hasn't been there and Waverly hasn't been there, oh boy. That's not good.
Yes. Nope. I'm curious though, because I don't recall when they came back, but in rewatching season 3, they evacuated Purgatory. So the question is, when did people come back? Did the regular town members come back? Or did new people come in because now this town is kind of empty? There's no Wynonna, there's no Doc. Nedley was injured. Is Nedley okay? We don't know. He was left with Mercedes, so it's like, I don't know. I'm concerned.
Yeah. The chat asked us if there's any specific significance on the amount of time, and I would guess that I think there is, and I think it's because they want to age up the daughter. Wynonna's daughter.
That is interesting. The article,
because she's useless as an infant, Alex, right? That's not a storyline.
The article I mentioned. Well, 18 months, she's not that much older.
But it has been a year between
since
her birth, right? So that's like 2 or 3.
Yeah. Maybe. So the article I was mentioning earlier, Emily Andras mentions that amount of time was used because they didn't want it to be so long that it's been like 5 years for Nicole without Waverly, but it's not so short that nothing has happened. I don't know if I just read it right before. I didn't notice anything of specifically that amount of time, the 18 months, 3 weeks, 4 days. But I think it's the idea that it's a long amount of time without it being like, oh my gosh, it's been forever. But that's a long amount of time that I agree that I would think Nicole, one of the other things, yes, they're caught up in the moment, 100% agree. But it would almost be like, where have you been? And like, what happened? Well, actually, she knows where she was. But like, oh my gosh, you're back.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think if you see somebody that you haven't seen in a long time and you want to see them, you don't ask questions. So I forgive that for sure.
But we'll see.
I do love that Nicole
I'm curious to see
remembered
what
the date
Purgatory is.
today.
Yeah.
I'd love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that, but again, I didn't think that was like a clue of
Yeah.
like, ooh, exactly how long. I thought it was more of like, I've been counting down the days since you've been gone. You know, like it's awful. And I was like, oh, wait in the feels, right? So good.
Yep. So that leaves off that Purgatory is a bit, things have changed. We have people hanging in the square. And it's like, what is going on? Which we will find out in our next episode watch. Any other final thoughts before we do some predictions?
I don't know how Nicole is alive after that fall. But like she said, I'm glad she is. You?
I'm curious how they got out of there. You know, like, okay, she broke her leg in 3 places. That really sucks. Broken bones are absolutely awful experience. But the question is, with all the zombies, how did Rachel and Nicole get out of there and not die? Like, I think we're gonna find Purgatory a very different place, a bit more lawless, because no, you know, a lot of people are out of commish, because also Nicole, even if she's there and part of the law enforcement, she's very much injured that she's not going to be doing much until her leg heals. And that takes a long time. Broken bones take a long time to heal. So we'll see. I think it just makes things a bit more rowdy and exciting for our next episode of what's going to go down. I guess I like that Doc and Wynonna were both gone, so that they're both on the same sense of a timeline of how far apart they've been. But this will be an interesting recap for Nicole and Waverly to catch up on what have you missed.
Yeah, I don't see a world where we don't get an answer to a lot of those questions simply because Waverly needs to know the answers to those questions. So I think we're going to see a lot of that on the next episode. I do love the theory that someone brought up in the chat that the real life reference was when season 4 production was supposed to originally start. So the 18 months, 4 week or 3 weeks and 4 days. I was like, that actually is about right about the time that it should have been premiering. So if that's true, excellent work, top shelf. You love to see it. But in the moment, I thought it was just really sweet of Nicole to say it.
I think that'd be really interesting, and I wouldn't put it past the show to include something like that. So I think that's a possibility. Also, we don't know what happened to Jeremy. So I don't know what he's doing right now. It was very nice to see him, though, as the Eve skin, essentially. But I hope he's okay.
I enjoyed the Doc Jeremy fight very much. You could see Doc's eyes going wild when Jeremy was coming after him. Like, I don't even know. How do I even hit this? Like, what is happening right now? It was so good.
Also, with that, I appreciate the joke of so much useless pop culture knowledge. So that does kind of show us that Eve has access to memories. Because I was kind of curious on that too. Because Waverly knew instantly with the kiss, like, you taste like sulfur. But her behavior was weird. But I was kind of wondering if she wouldn't know something between them. But it does look more like Eve tries to put in effort to be the person, but not that much that I instantly was like, whoa. And even Waverly was like, you're seeming weird, sweetheart. Like, something's off.
Well, the fact that she kind of just showed up like beaming with the weird hair. I think we mentioned last time on the podcast that her hair was different and it was bothering everyone. And I just appreciate little tidbits like that in the show, because the writers on the show just deserve all the money in the world, because the work that they put in for the tiny details and the references, it's just perfection. You love to see it.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, constantly when there's these nice little moments, it's like, mwah, chef kiss of like, they put the icing on the cake and the cherry on top. It's just so good. Oh, the other thing I was going to say with Jeremy that was funny with Doc and Jeremy is the joking about his fitness journey, because that was also in a previous episode where Nicole was possessed, where the witch jokes that or comments that Jeremy is actually really strong underneath all of that. And so I like that was a callback in this. I thought that was fun of having the very fit nerd. So yeah, I'm curious on where all right, of what we'll see next with Jeremy too. So any other thoughts on the episode before we get into working on how we're giving away a little something?
Yeah, definitely. We're going to be giving away a signed poster from the Wynonna Earp cast. I think
comic book.
The way that, comic book. I think the way that we are going to be doing that is probably, I like your suggestion earlier, Kari. She mentioned when we were prepping for the show. I think since I want to make it as fair as possible, I think what we'll do is we'll leave it up to everyone who leaves a comment on this replay today, the day of airing. And then we'll make a list of those names and we'll draw from a straw poll and we'll announce the winner next week live on air. How does that work? Yeah? Cool. Yeah.
That sounds, I love it. So yeah, if you're watching, comment on this on the YouTube replay today. Yes.
Yeah. On the replay, you won't be able to comment yet until this session, this live stream ends. But you will be able to do so right afterwards. We will tweet it out, leave a comment, literally what should we say? Hashtag Eve. Hashtag killing Eve.
Yes.
Yeah,
you can
hashtag killing Eve.
Whatever comment, but you can make whatever comment you want, but include hashtag Eve so that we know you're referring to the contest.
Yeah. That way we can kind of look through the comments easier and put them all together. Again, this giveaway is going to be for North America only so that we can afford to ship it. So if you have a North America address, please make sure to check your DMs. I'm pretty sure I will be able to DM you on YouTube, the winner, next week. So please be here next week. We will announce the winner then, and we will also be DMing you. But I am very much looking forward to doing that with you guys. Yeah, there was an Orphan Black reference. Katie Lowles even tweeted about it. And the Sarah Lance reference, so many references. Emily just deserves an award for all of the pop culture references. It's out of control. And it's miraculous, and we love it. So, yes, please leave a comment on this video afterwards with the hashtag Eve so we know to find you, and it will only be the comments that are left on the video today so we can know that you guys are the ones that watched live. And will there be something for the international viewers too later on? I don't know, because I feel like shipping is a big hurdle to get over, and I don't know if we're gonna run into anything else to give away, because I feel like we got really lucky with this comic book thanks to B. Daly, one of our fellow Earpers, aka the reason that I even have this podcast. My goodness. You know, I can't assume that we're just going to get more things to give away, but if we do, I would love to make it a digital download of any kind. But right now, this is kind of what we have, and those are the resources we have, so we're going to stick with that for now. But I would absolutely love to do something like that for sure. Yeah, wouldn't have it any other way. Do we have any closing thoughts? Do we have any other predictions? My main prediction is I think they want to do something with Alice, Wynonna Earp's little half vampire daughter. I think they're trying to age her up as quickly as possible so they can bring a little actress on the show to fuck things up. Because the child of Doc and Wynonna is going to be annoying. Or problematic in some way to Wynonna only. You know that's going to happen. 100%. She's going to be too smart for her own good. She's going to be loud. And she's going to be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Calling it.
I think it's a very interesting prediction, though. No, because she was consummated long before he was a vampire. But I think it could be interesting to bring her back, but I think it's only really been like a couple, maybe 3 years-ish max. Definitely under 5 years old. So I'm like, ooh, I don't know if they want to bring a baby back, but we'll see. I wouldn't put it past the show to do something like that and give us that kind of a curveball.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes. No, I think that's but I also agree that baby is going to be quite the handful of those two strong people of like, she's going to be a very exciting person. No, I think that wraps it up. Yes. More just thank you to everybody who's watching this live, watching it later. It's so awesome to connect with all of you online on Twitter and Instagram and all that about this show, because it's so fun to be watching it live and to have it be back. And it's just been so good and exciting. So I'm just looking forward to talking more about this show with all of you.
Okay. I'm very excited to be back next week as well. You can keep the conversation going with me at Amber Plaster on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, all the things except for your last name. And we will be back on Monday to talk more Wynonna Earp, give away that comic book, and see what's been happening in Purgatory for the last 18 months.
Yeah. And you all can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's KARIDLANE. And we will see you all next week. Excited to talk about more Wynonna on Monday.
Thank you, guys. Yes, and next week is it's a Mel's directorial debut, so I'm very excited to see that as well. So
agreed.
Hats off. Yeah, into that. We will see you guys then. Mm-hmm. We love you. Drink all the whiskey today. And eat all the donuts.
Yeah. See ya. Thank you.
Bye.